changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration to make you simply happy. It's Wow Wednesday, and I'm going to tell you a Christmas story, even though I know it's a little early. We have probably 1,000 great Christmas stories, and I can only tell you so many per week, so I'm just going to start now. The holidays, whether you're celebrating Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, can be expensive and stressful. So I love the stories about holiday miracles, when good things happen to good people. Sometimes those simple little miracles can change everything, and they can turn a tough situation into everyone's favorite Christmas ever. One of our regular story writers, she's really an important member of the Chicken Soup for the Soul family, is Lori Struck. She writes under the pen name L.A. Struck. What I love about her is that she shares the ups and the downs with us through her many stories in our books. And this story I'm going to tell you has a little bit of both. Lori tells us that one year her family was having one of those down years. They were struggling and broke, and they weren't going to be able to buy a Christmas tree for their 4 kids. When a friend of hers had been in the same position, an anonymous benefactor had left a tree at her front door. So Lori wondered if a miracle would happen for her family too. She was in the kitchen baking cookies one day when her 7-year-old daughter Annie ran in and said she was entering a coloring contest at the local garden center. She hoped to win the prize, which was some money, so that she could buy art supplies to make Christmas presents for her siblings. Well, Christmas continued to get closer, and Lori was no closer to solving her money problems. Her parents actually bought some gifts for their grandchildren so that they would have something to open on Christmas morning. So they had some wrapped gifts now, but there was still a big empty corner where those gifts were supposed to go under a tree. One day, the family went to the garden center to see all the artwork in the contest. Annie's drawing was great, but so were many of the others. While they were there, Lori and her husband had to fend off the kids' request to pick out their tree. As Lori says, the, quote, cold reality was that there would be no more paychecks until after Christmas. So 3 days before Christmas, the corner of the living room was still empty. The kids were asking about a tree. And little Annie, the 7-year-old, kept saying that she was going to buy the family a tree when she won the coloring contest. She was so certain she would win, which only made Lori feel worse. Lori was actually starting to second-guess her decision to stay home with the kids instead of getting a paying job. And that afternoon, Lori was actually reading the want ads, seeking a job, when the children raced in and told her that Annie had won 3rd place in the coloring contest. She wouldn't be winning the cash that she had hoped for. But the 3rd place prize was even better. It was a Christmas tree. That Christmas, there weren't many gifts, but the few that the family had were placed under a beautiful blue spruce. Annie herself had the honor of placing the star at the top of the tree. Now, we always put a quote at the beginning of our stories, and the one that we put on this story was by an Indian mystic named Osho Rajneesh. He said, "Be realistic, plan for a miracle." Lori's story was called Annie's Little Christmas Miracle, and we published it in Chicken Soup for the Soul, It's Christmas, which is one of our many holiday books. If you'd like to read some fun tips from that book about Christmas, please go to our website, chickensoup.com. I'm Amy Newmark. Thanks for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. Tomorrow will be Thoughtful Thursday, and we're going to talk about another important Thursday, Thanksgiving, and another mother who thought she was going to disappoint her family. If you want to hear what else is going on at Chicken Soup for the Soul, follow me on Twitter, where my handle is @AmyNewmark. Also, don't forget the Simply Happy Project. It's a tip a day at #SimplyHappyProject. It's on Chicken Soup for the Soul's Facebook page, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram.